Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mind Your Money with Miss Be Helpful, a show that highlights people and stories that will inspire you to get your money right. And today, I am so freaking excited to have Tori from Her First 100K. Tori, what's up, girl?
Hi, many technological issues later, we are here.
Y'all do not understand. We literally were just the living, breathing version of that SpongeBob meme that was like 4 hours
4
later.
hours later. Yeah.
Literally, because going back and forth trying to get this tech up and running, the internet didn't want us to do this, but we're doing it anyway. Internet, we're making it happen. Thank you so much, Tori, first of all, for making time to sit and talk to me and just inspire people with your story and and your wisdom. For anybody out there who does not know who Tori is and who hasn't heard of Her First 100K, Tori, why don't you give them a little bit of an intro snippet about you and your background?
Sure. So I'm the founder of HerFirst100K, which is a money and career platform for millennial women. I believe I was put on this earth to fight for women's financial rights. So my work's been featured on Good Morning America, CNBC, Forbes, a bunch of other places. And after saving $100,000 at 25, I quit my corporate job to educate women about money full time. And it's been the best thing in the entire world.
Oh,
So
my
yeah, I love fighting the patriarchy through financial education and just stoked to be here today.
I freaking love that. First of all, tell us about how much you freaking loved your corporate job. Did you just
I didn't mind my corporate job, but
oh,
I was biding my time. It was very much a like, no, I love this job, but do I want to not make somebody else rich anymore? Yes.
okay, so
Do I
you were one of those because I hear people say like I just couldn't wait to get out of that corporate job, and I was just pretty much saving up my money to be able to have enough stashed away to get out. But for you, it wasn't the case. You actually didn't enjoy it, but you wanted to have your own thing going.
was it my dream scenario? No. It was there like workplace drama and patriarchal bullshit? Yeah, 100%. But like, was everything else great? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
What job doesn't have all that crap anyway, all that
Right.
baggage, right? Cool. All right. Well, let's tell folks a little bit about some of your spending habits in the past and also, in the present. If there's anything that you remember buying in the past that you spent a lot of money on, but you just regret it, even to this day, you wish that you never made that purchase. What would that purchase be?
It was less of something that I bought or more it was more of a financial decision I made that I end up
Mhm,
regretting. So I
mhm.
took a job in late 2017 for the money. I was able to negotiate $20,000 more than what they wanted to pay me,
Oh,
but there was so many red flags. It was so toxic. So I went into the job in like late November, quit 10 weeks later, and then didn't find another job until 10 weeks after that. So I spent 10 weeks unemployed where I was of course not only not earning money, I was spending my emergency fund, and that ended up costing me, oh gosh, probably at least six to $7,000. Like that was a doozy. So yeah, just the emotional toll of that, of having a really abusive boss, that was a whole other thing. But yeah,
right.
definitely the financial impact was something that I had to recover from and spent probably 6 months rebuilding that emergency fund.
That is so big because there's so many people out there, especially women, who feel like they just have to go for that job that's going to pay them the most. And I learned the hard way that, like, for me personally, I can't function that way. There's a lot of people that maybe they do function that way. Maybe they have the grit to withstand a toxic work environment and just go to work and come back and not have it, decay their whole mental
And
status.
yeah,
Um,
compartmentalize that and
right.
yeah,
But I think for a lot of other people, we fall in this other bucket of like, no, it's not all about the money. We have to be able to have mental peace, mental health. We have to be able to go to work and actually want to be there, even just a little. And it's not always just about the money. For me, I kind of learned that that's how I am. Like, of course, I like money. I want to make a lot of money, and I want to help people with my money and with my knowledge of money. But at the same time, I can't just go out there chasing money. Like I realize that there's so much more in life than just a dollar sign, on your
totally.
salary. And sounds like you learned that too. So
Yeah.
a big life lesson. Cool. What about on the flip side? What is a purchase that you made or an experience that you spend money on, a service or etc. that you spent so much money on? It probably sounds crazy to other people, but you stand firm by your decision because it was a worthwhile purchase and you don't regret
I go on a friend moon with my best friend every year. So
it.
we go on a honeymoon trip as platonic best friends, and it's basically like her and I telling each other how much we love each other and doing honeymoon things like romantic dinners, spas, like all of this crazy stuff. So 2017 was Costa Rica. We took 2018 off. 2019 was Italy. So we did a road trip through southern Italy, which was amazing. It was like the best 10 days probably of my life. Like, it was so much fun.
That's
And
amazing.
then, assuming coronavirus doesn't screw it up, we're supposed to go to Australia and New Zealand for 3 weeks in late this year, like October, November. So yeah,
Oh,
we ball out. Like, we spend, a couple $1,000s on these trips. We try to do them as much on a budget as we can, but also we just so enjoy the time we spend together, and it's just the coolest part of our friendship. And so yeah,
that is
hashtag friend moon 2020. Look out for
I
that.
love that. That is so dope. I also do really long trips. Like when I do take a big vacation, I'll do like a 9 day, 10 day trip, or like even a month.
Right.
I just got back from like a month in Europe for Christmas break and New Year's. And I just find like, I don't know, for me, I need that time. Like when I come
Slow
back, I
travel,
feel like,
baby.
yes, I feel like I'd rather do that than take like 9 vacations for 3 days each. I can't, those are not the type of vacations I like. So I'm with you,
Yeah.
girl. I'm all about the hashtag moons, the friend moons, the honeymoons, all the moons. I do them all.
Baby
I love
moons, yeah, all the moons.
Yes, I love that. So, okay, let's get into the juice of this session because I know that people out there listening and even watching are probably thinking like, all right, let's get to it. How the hell did she get $100,000 at the age of 25? How did
Yeah.
you do it?
The first thing I like to acknowledge is that I did have some privilege as part of my story. So I was able to graduate college debt free, not because my parents had a trust fund for me or because,
Yeah.
they handed me a check, but we very much had a collaborative process into paying for college. So
Mhm.
I got 2 to 4 year degrees in 4 years. I worked 3 jobs on campus. I got
Ooh,
tens of thousands of dollars in merit scholarships. So I was very much contributing to the financial education, or excuse me, my education financially, I should say. And
yeah.
then I did have some parental financial support. And so that's the first thing I like to acknowledge, is that I would not have hit 100K that fast had I not had parents who were able to give me some money for college. Um, Regardless of that, I mean, I side hustled. That was the first big thing. Her first 100K actually started as a side hustle. So I just actually quit to do full time entrepreneurship a couple months ago in late 2019. So this is like, I think, month 3 of full time entrepreneurship for me.
Ooh, that's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
so exciting. So, yeah, I was always earning money on the side, and all of those side hustle earnings could go immediately into a savings account or, a SEP IRA. Because I was a side hustler, I also had the option of doing what's called a, self-employment IRA. So I side hustled a lot. I automated my savings. So I was really focused on paying myself first, having a chunk of my savings automatically go into, or a chunk of my paycheck automatically go into savings without me having to think about it.
Yep.
So probably at the epitome of my savings journey, I was saving all the money for my side hustle, and then I was saving 27% of my take home pay. And even in Seattle, living alone, like, I was able to do that, because the third thing I did was negotiate my salary. So I was able to get at least 10% more in every job I've ever held, including, $20,000 more in that unfortunate 3 month period. But
Oh,
I was always really committed to making sure that I was getting paid what I was worth, and I help other people do that now with negotiation coaching and workshops.
that's
And then I invested really early. So I started my Roth IRA when I was 21. And
amazing.
obviously we're in some economic instability right now, but the past couple of years of me saving, we had a really, really good bear market, which I'm sure, or excuse me, bull market, which helped me a lot in progressing towards my 100K. And then I actually hit it 9 months early. So the joke was always, if I could save 100K before I turned 26, it still counted. And yeah, I hit it the day before I left on Friend Moon 2019.
Wow, that is crazy. Okay, so wait, so there's two things that I want to kind of like pull from that story. First of all, is starting to invest early in a Roth IRA at 21. That is just
Yeah,
insane. Like, first of all, how did you like did your parents tell you to do that? Did you read up about it? Like, you're 21 years old. The last thing you're thinking about is retirement investing. How did you
right.
decide a Roth IRA was what you needed to be doing?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to have a really great financial education from my parents. I
Mhm.
actually started my first business when I was 9 years old. I have been very financially minded, and I was lucky enough to have parents who coached me through that. And I realized, of course, when I graduated college, that's part of why I founded Her First 100K, was realizing that that unfortunately was a privilege, and with that privilege came the responsibility for me to go out and spread that guidance and advice. So yeah, we very much had a conversation when I was starting my first job at 21 after college of like, hey, we're going to open up a retirement account. And at my first job, I couldn't open up a 401k through them until I was there a year. So I wasn't going to wait a year. I was going to make sure to open something else. So hence Roth IRA.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. I first of all, I just think one, yes, you're so lucky to have your parents. But two, do you know how many times people's parents will tell them this is what you need to do and they don't listen?
Oh,
Like, it's
totally.
just like they just like, nah, mom, nah, dad, like you don't get it. I'm 21, and the fact that you sat there, you were like, yep, you know what? I'm gonna do what mom and dad are telling me to do. I'm gonna follow these steps. Like, even though it sucks to take a chunk of my money that I'm earning and put it into a Roth IRA, I'm going to do it. Like,
I
you
think
know,
of 65-year-old me, and 65-year-old me is like, she's living in Palm Beach. She drinks Chardonnay with lunch, and she flirts with her Pilates instructor named Luca. Like, she has
yeah.
the best life because
Oh,
21-year-old me, 24-year-old me, 30-year-old me, right, put in some work. And I'm not, I'm still going to Italy. I'm still living alone in Seattle. I'm still doing things I want to do
right,
as someone in their 20s. And also, I'm thinking about cute little 65-year-old me who's got like a dope ass handbag who just wants to live her best life. And
right.
so she can't live her best life unless I put in some work right now. So that's
That's
always what I think of. And that's what I have clients think of as well, is like literally journal about like 65-year-old you. She's so cute. She's loving life because you were able to put in the work early.
That is so true. There's something that I always say to the students that I work with. Sometimes I work with teenagers in high school settings or college
Mm,
students, and they're always saying to me, like, I just can't, like, I'm gonna be old by then. Like, I'm like, let me tell you something. When you are 70, that is still you. That person at 70 is still the same person that you are right now. The only thing
right,
that's changing is your physical body is getting a little older. The brain, your experiences, your way, everything that you have inside you is still that's you. It's just in the future. So if you care about yourself right now, you have to care about that 60, 70-year-old person because that's you. You have to care about you just as much then as you do now. And I think
right.
it's just, sometimes it's harder for younger people to actually imagine themselves at an older age. Okay, so I want to definitely talk about how you established her first 100K and how you kind of decided to grow it. But before I jump into her first 100K and the origin story, I want to know a little bit more about even just one or two of the main tips that you share with women who are listening out there, or even guys who are listening out there who maybe struggle with this idea that you mentioned about negotiating for what you think that you are worth at a
Yeah.
particular job that you're working at. Like, what are maybe one or two things that you recommend people do if they're at a place where they're like, I can't do that. I can't ask for more money, or, I don't think that I'm going to be successful in that.
Yeah, I'll give two mindset switches. So the first is that negotiations are collaborations, not conflicts. So too
Mhm.
many of us go into negotiations thinking, I'm gonna have to fight to the death, right? I'm gonna have to like unsheath my sword and put on my boxing gloves and like
That's right.
fight to the death, right? And that's not a negotiation. That's a fight. That's an argument. That's not a compromise or, a collaboration.
Right.
You and your potential boss or boss are not on opposing teams. You're on the same team. You're on the same team trying to solve this problem, which is you not being compensated fairly.
Mhm.
So you have to come at it with that collaborative mindset of problem solving, of like, hey, let's work together to figure this out, rather than, yeah, feeling like you're going to have to fight to the death over it. The
Love that.
second thing I'll say, especially for women, especially for people of color, we've been told our entire lives, right, that you have to just accept what you've been given and just be grateful for it and just kind of sit down and shut up, right? And so the number one thing I hear from women and my clients and people who take my workshops is they go, okay, what if I lose the job by negotiating? Or what if I lose the
Mhm.
client by asking for more? I need you
Mhm.
to know you will not lose the job or the opportunity by negotiating.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. And God forbid if it does happen, the company is actually doing you a favor. They're not a company you want to work for. That is a huge red flag. If they're not willing to have a conversation with you about your value, they will not see your value during your entire tenure of employment there.
That's right.
So they're
That's right.
really doing you a favor if for whatever reason they decide that you're being crazy by the audacity of you having a conversation about what you're worth. So
That is so true.
negotiations are collaborations, not conflicts. And please keep in mind that you won't lose the opportunity by advocating for yourself.
That's a great point. And honestly, that fear of failure is probably what stops people from making a lot of moves that they know that they're supposed to be.
Totally.
Like it's just that rejection. They don't want to put themselves in a position to be rejected. That can be financially, that can be in relationships, that can be, in so many different
It's
facets of your life.
vulnerability, right? It's
Exactly.
being willing to be
Exactly.
vulnerable and hearing no, or hearing
Mhm.
not now, or having somebody react poorly to it. You're not in control of whatever anybody else says or does. Of course, you're in control of how you present yourself and your thoughts and feelings. and
Right.
and I think the world needs more vulnerability, both just in general, right, but
Yeah.
also for yourself. Like, I mean, we'll probably talk about this. Like, the reason my business was able to grow in the way it did is because I was vulnerable and kept pitching myself and kept showing up in places where maybe, somebody like me wasn't. And I said, I could come to them and say, you need somebody like me talking about this. You need somebody as part of this conversation. And that takes some vulnerability. I heard so many
Right.
no's, but did I get a yes from Good Morning America? Yeah. Did I get
Right.
no's from a bunch of other places too in that process? Yes,
Right.
as well.
Right. That is awesome. I feel like that's the one thing that I have learned in my 20s, in my late 20s and early 30s that I didn't have in my early 20s was just that like that extra confidence to just go
Right.
in. Even if you're not sure it's gonna work out, what the hell does it matter? The worst thing that can happen is they say no,
They say no.
big
That's what I
deal.
say all the time. Yeah. I
Big
have a
deal,
theater
right?
background, so I majored in theater in college. And like I heard no again.
Mhm.
I heard no 99 times before I heard a yes. And so it made me really resilient and it made me able to, yeah, keep pitching myself and keep understanding that, like, okay, it doesn't mean I'm not worthy of this. It doesn't
Right.
mean that, I'm not ready. It's just a no.
And it's just one no, right? And then you can hear
Right.
all these no's, but then you'll hear one yes, and
Hmm.
that's all you need, right?
Yep.
I love that. Okay, so yes, do talk a little bit now about her first 100K. How did you decide to get to that point? Like, what was it? What sparked in you that just said, you know what, I'm gonna make this like a whole thing. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
offer this to other people, and I'm gonna make this, a platform, a project.
Yeah. So when I graduated college with the financial education I had, I thought, okay, everybody knows not to overspend on credit cards. And everybody knows to
Mhm.
negotiate their salary. And of course, I realized that that wasn't the case. And I was the
Yep.
friend all of my female friends were coming to for advice and guidance. And so, really, after the 2016 election, after me kind of coming into adulthood during that time, I realized that, again, we're at a severe disadvantage when it comes to managing our money and understanding how to invest and understanding that there's a lot of credit card companies that are predatory, especially towards women. And so I really felt a responsibility. I felt like I have the tools and the guidance, and I feel like I have an interesting perspective to talk about it in terms of like having a financial education as a form of protest.
Right.
Because I think having funds means having freedom, right? When you start
Mhm.
giving women more money, you realize that they can start changing the world, right? They can
Right.
buy houses and they can have children if they want, and they can start businesses and donate to causes they believe in and get out of toxic situations they don't want to be in anymore, right? And that starts completely shifting not only
Yes.
personal lives but communities and countries and eventually the world. So I don't think we have any sort of equality for marginalized groups until we have financial equality. And so
Woo.
if we can get, again, more money into more women's hands, everything can
Yes.
start changing. So I started Her First 100K as a blog originally, and then it kind of transitioned in early 2019 into Her First 100K, based upon, of course, my journey to save $100,000. And I mean, it just kind of took off from there. 2019 was a blockbuster year for me. Had all of these press hits, hit my 100K, quit my job. And yeah, like I said, I'm in like month 3 or 4 of full-time entrepreneurship since taking this full
That
time.
is that is incredible. Okay, so what does full entrepreneurship mean for somebody who is running so coaching, right? You do coaching.
It's
What else?
coaching, it's speaking. I mean, I always joke I have like 8 or 10 sources of revenue. So,
Good.
like,
That's
I
awesome.
have I have so many different revenue streams. So, I act as a spokesperson for some financial brands. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
speaking at conferences and at corporations and at women's events all over the world now. Doing coaching, doing courses, doing workshops, pretty much
That's
anything
awesome.
related to money. I'm probably doing something around it. So,
That is
yeah,
incredible.
and I'm talking, of course, about personal finance, but really in the coming months, I'm also talking about how to build an online business. So I was
That's really
able
cool.
to build Her First 100K on the side of my 9 to 5, and got to the point where I was out earning my 9 to 5 income.
Woo.
Like I made $30,000 in January of this year just from Her First 100K alone. Like
Amazing.
I was able to grow this business, and I want to teach other people how to do the same. Like I don't want you to make somebody else rich anymore. I want you to make yourself rich.
I love that. I love that. Make yourself rich, not somebody else. I always talk about that, but in a slightly different context because the community that I grew up in, it's like low income immigrant kids and a lot
Yeah.
of first gen. And we would go to school, and the thing that mattered the most that made you popular was what you were wearing.
Right.
Did you have Jordans on? Did you have Nikes? Did you have a backpack with a name brand, a North Face coat? Like, what were the brand names that you were sporting?
Mm.
Because that's what made you popular. And now when I talk to kids and youth, especially urban youth, I tell them, what does it matter what brand name you got on? What you're doing is making someone else richer when you spend $500 on a Gucci belt when you don't even have enough money for lunch today. Like that, it doesn't make sense. And like you
Yeah.
have to get yourself to the point where spending $500 on a Gucci belt is nothing, and then you can do it. But like doing that right now when you're struggling financially literally doesn't make any sense. And I think that's sort of that idea that like we have to shift our mindset to making ourselves rich, not making other people rich in a lot of ways, right? Rich means money, but it also means making yourself rich spiritually, making
Well, it
yourself
means
rich
freedom.
knowledge. It means making yourself rich with freedom and
Right.
choice and independence. Like you should be able to do what you want with your time and your money. And that is literally what this is all about when we talk about personal finance and financial empowerment. So I love that. I cannot snap enough. My fingers are like snap, snap, snap,
Yeah.
snap, snap, snap. Uh, Okay, awesome. So I want you to tell us a little bit more about how people can find you, can work with you. Like I know a lot of people that are gonna be listening to this are just gonna be so inspired by your story. Like first of all, you're a badass. Like your energy is so eclectic. Your energy is so electric that I feel like
It
people
could
are
be
just gonna be like,
eclectic too. Like, that's
it could be
great.
eclectic, it could be electric, eclectic, it could be all the things. But yeah, no, I think like your energy is just is so magnetic. I think it probably is going to inspire so many people to feel motivated to inspire change. So what
Thanks,
if they want to
appreciate
reach
it.
out to you and let you know that they inspired you? How do they do that?
Yeah, so I'm HerFirst100K on all of the socials, HerFirst100K, and that's my website, HerFirst100K.com. I always like to say I'm way cooler on Instagram. I talk about money. I also talk about my love of fried chicken and Timothée Chalamet. So come slide in my DMs, ask me your money questions, come say hi. I would love to see you around
Oops,
these
sorry.
parts.
I love that. First of all, yes, whenever I follow you on Instagram, I always get a good ass laugh. Like I remember the most recent time I was just literally dying
Thanks.
out laughing was when you were talking about how your ex-boyfriend was using your points and you were using his points
Uh-huh.
and you just caught each other
Uh-huh.
because one person was using points, you were using the points. Like who's using each other's points?
My joke was always, yeah, he called me fat while we were dating, which
Oh, what a
was
jerk.
yeah, no. And so occasionally I will also say I will occasionally give him points, like I will enter his number, to get a discount for me, which gives him gas points, and
That's
then occasionally I steal them, and we are in no contact at all, and I think he somehow saw that, and then
right.
I went to Safeway and like bought a bunch of stuff because of corona.
Oh,
I racked up a bunch of points, and then I checked and there was no points there, and I was like,
where my
"Sir,
points at? Where my
where are my
points
points?"
at?
And so many people
Oh,
like
this
slid into my DMs and they were like, "Karma." And I was like, "No, but like I didn't call him fat. Like this is
Right. What
not
did
the
I do?
same
What
thing.
did I do besides get a
It's
little
not the
discount
same
and give him
thing."
points? Hello. When you did something, you were helping each other out. When he did something, he was not helping anybody. So
Mhm.
I disagree with them. I agree with you. They're wrong.
Maybe it was an issue with the system. Maybe I didn't actually get points, or maybe he stole them. Who knows?
There's an equal likelihood for both of those scenarios to be
Uh-huh.
true.
Yeah.
All right, love. Well, I got one last question for you, and this is my favorite part of the show, which is to get a money mantra or money message or money motto from you that you would put on every single dollar bill. So we're gonna wipe away George Washington's old behind face and put yours on there. We're gonna put instead of the United States of America, we're gonna wipe that off. Sorry, USA, and we're gonna put another money motto that so everybody who touches money and transacts with money will see this. What would that message be?
Having a financial education is a woman's best form of protest.
Yes, I need to play that, I need to play a little clip from Hamilton. Work,
Mhm.
yes, I
Yep.
love, 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 love that. I can't wait to share the dollar bill with you. I can't wait to tag you in this and share this with
Oh, I can't wait.
everybody. You're freaking phenomenal. Keep doing all the badass things that you're doing.
Right back at you. Thank you for I am a white woman and I try to serve all the communities I can, and I feel like there are so many amazing women of color who are also talking about these things with their own unique perspectives, which is
Right.
so valuable and so needed. So I so appreciate you and
Thank
and so
you.
many other women like showing up in those communities. So
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate your work too.
Love that and appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show and have a
Of
great
course.
rest of your day, love.
Thank you, you too.
If you like this video, which I'm sure you did because the video was the bomb, then you're going to want to watch all the other episodes of the Mind Your Money with Miss Be Helpful podcast. And they're all right here in this playlist. So click the playlist to watch those episodes. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click the subscribe button right now so you can get videos every single week and to join Team Be Helpful right here. That's all I have for you guys. Till next time, peace.